Hello everyone, Bryan Stahl here. Teacher, the student, the entrepreneur. You've seen where it all started at the prison. We're about to go on the journey so you can take a look into actually the biggest failure that I had that led me into Fidelis. Follow me, we'll sit down, have a drink, and chat about it. So you know it started at the prison. What happened directly after that is actually the biggest failure that I've ever had. And you're probably expecting it to the story just to zoom off like a fairy tale and everything just worked out. And I had a $5 million business and now boom, we're here going to 10. No, actually, what happened after the prison is I was selling life insurance and doing investments for people. And the crazy thing is no one would give me their money. I had no experience, I had no leadership skills, I had no mentors, I had no one teaching me the ropes of how to sell. So what that led to is me racking up about $40,000 in debt, led to me having a 480 credit score, led to me almost claiming bankruptcy. I remember this like it was yesterday. I won't name the attorney, but I walked in because I was thinking about claiming bankruptcy. I didn't see a way out. I didn't know what the capabilities were in life. He's sitting at his desk, he pulls his chair back, props his feet up on here, pulls a little dum-dum lollipop out and starts eating it. And he's like, "Kid, just get me your bills, give me $1,200 and I'll wipe out all this debt for you." I was like, "No problem, you'll never see it again." You know, I walked out of there, I kind of like felt like I had verge on tears because when you make obligations, you need to honor them, you know, outside of illness and things like that, something that's out of your control. I ended up not actually going through with the bankruptcy. I ended up failing out of selling the insurance investment business, and I was walking through a strip mall one day, and on a wall, on a window, it said hiring. It was a finance company, and that finance company, I walked in, filled out an application. The guy goes, "When can you start?" And immediately I said, willing to hire me on the spot? Let's see where this goes. Well, long story short with that finance company helped dig me out of my financial almost bankruptcy. I ended up paying virtually all of it off. I think the max that I made at that place was around 70 grand. And I grew into a little bit of a management role at that point, got my first taste of managing. And from there, I knew this guy that had his own company. It was a two-man company, him and an assistant. I went there and worked, and I immediately became his #1 salesperson. Now, I was the only one. I was the only salesperson, but I became his #1. After about 6 to 8 months, I sat down with him. I said, "You know, I want to be part of something big, build something special. What do you ever think about maybe me owning some of this or being your partner?" To this day, I remember these words to a T. #1, I hate being called son by anybody that's not my dad or my grandfather, period. It's a big pet peeve of mine. So it sticks out. He goes, "Son, why would I partner with you when I could hire somebody just like you?" Scratched my head. I said, "Yeah, but I want to be a part of something. I want to help something grow. Like, I'm willing to prove it to you." Just wasn't happening. I see this gentleman from time to time at functions, and he's not in my side of the business. I truly question what he thinks about it, knowing now that we're doing $150 million of business a year in mortgages and where we got to and where we're going. And my signature line, as you know, is just jump. He decided not to jump. It was a really bad decision for him at the end of the day, and he had the judges on who I was back then, so I don't necessarily blame him, but he wasn't willing to take the risk. So from there, I was headhunted, and I was chasing the money at this point. You know, who could pay me the most? That's all I cared about. There's a valuable lesson in this too, as I was working my way up, of when I reflect back on, if you're new into sales, if you're a new entrepreneur, even if you're looking for another job, be careful if that's the only thing that you looked at, because that's what I did. I went on to another company, and at the end of the day, they were doing things the way they shouldn't have been. They weren't paying their bills. That company ended up ultimately folding, which kind of then forced me into a position, and I had to say to myself, you know, what do I want again? I just jumped. I went and got my license. I had no clue what I was doing in terms of organization, operations, and I opened up a company, a mortgage company. And along the way from when I started till now, I learned a ton of lessons, a ton of things you shouldn't do, a ton of things you should do, obstacles, understanding what my strengths and weaknesses are through wins and failure. And we can discuss some of those in terms of, like, let's start with one. My biggest mistake in this business actually just happened 18 months ago, January of 2018. I decided I was going on a hiring spree, and I started to hire, I think I hired 12 people at one time. And at that point, the staff was only about 12 or 13. I got greedy, and I blew through every single red flag on people's resumes. I think I lost roughly about $350,000 from when I started these hires to when they all left. I think there's 4 of them left. There's 4 of those 12 left. What did I learn from that? You really want to hire slow and fire fast. Don't go past red flags. Look at people's resumes. Know that sometimes the person sitting in front of you at the interview is not going to be the person that's coming to work for you. Get references. These are mistakes that I made, where I just made my judgment on someone and they sold me. They were great. Salespeople are the easiest persons to sell. And I've learned that it costs me a lot of money. The second thing that I'm going to talk to you about is investing the money. Where do you reinvest your money? The number one thing that you can invest your money in is yourself and your people. You're going to have widgets coming at you. You're going to have technology coming at you. You're going to have everything under the sun that's sold to you that's saying, hey, this is going to help you build your business. No doubt. Of course, you need some of that, but stay laser focused. Take 1 or 2 things or marketing or sales activities and run with it and invest in yourself and grow. I'll get more into that down the road when we're talking about mentors, when we're talking about coaching, when we're talking about how to expand your mind. So here's what I want you to do. All right. I want you to follow us. I want to help you because no one was there to help me. So I want you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Follow the story, share it. I guarantee you with the people that I have on the show, from my experience, you're going to learn some things that are going to help you either start your business, either grow what you're already doing, and it'll be fun because this is candid. Like I told you before, you're going to see my wins, you're going to see my failures. You're going to see everything that I'm doing, and some things you might say, I don't get why he's doing that for business. Think about, like, if you have a back pain. Is it always your back? It might be your hamstrings. So same with business. If you have a pain in business, it might be something else. You might need to expand your mind. You might need to get more creative, more intuitive. You might need to realize what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So you'll see me doing all of these different things. Understand why I'm doing it is to take this business from 5 to 10 million. And I know it can't just be done simply by making phone calls and trying to grow the business directly. I know I need to work on myself. I need to invest in myself. I've probably spent so far $100,000 this year on mentors, coaches. Right now I'm working with the guy that ran Tony Robbins' business for 15 years. My personal advisor, Alex Mayer, just sold Zeus for $255 million. Like, if you step into my huddle, I have the A-team squad. That's another thing. Who's in your huddle? We'll talk about that later. I appreciate it. This is Bryan Stahl, the teacher, the student, and always the entrepreneur. Remember, if you have a dream or idea, just jump.